If your underage daughter was considering an abortion, wouldn't you want to know? A proposed ballot measure goes a step further, saying your daughter's doctor would be forced by law to tell you about your daughter's plans. Is that right? I want to tell you about a story here, and I want to get your take on it, yours as well. This is the time that people try to get enough signatures to get propositions put on the state ballot. All right, what do you think about this? Abortion parental notification for those under 18. A girl under 18 wants an abortion. A new ballot measure would require the physician performing the abortion to notify the girl's parents 48 hours before the procedure. Supporters say teens will make better, more well-informed decisions before having an abortion. Opponents say it violates a woman's right to privacy. They need about 700,000 signatures just to get it on the ballot. Parental notification. Good idea or bad idea, Charlotte?
Well, I personally think it's a good idea, but I think it's going to be very hard to get this to pass. They've tried 3 times before since 2005 and failed. But I like the idea because, first of all, there are exceptions built into this law. So you can get a waiver from a judge. You can get an exception if you have a medical emergency. And I think for a minor, more information is always better. I think they should have the opportunity to talk to lots of adults and get this information and know what it's like. And maybe even see, I would like to see a movie where they find out about abortion and adoption alternatives. I'm an adoptive child, and I think that that's a definite viable alternative. So I think it's a positive thing, but I don't think the people of the state are going to support it.
All right, Leo, from a legal standpoint, since that is your business, is that an invasion of privacy?
Yes, it's a horrible idea. But, Charlotte, let me tell you, I think this thing is going to pass. It's a horrible idea, Fred, because there's a false assumption. There's an assumption that this young girl, this 17-year-old girl, can go to her mom and dad at 222 Main Street. A lot of parents may be split up. What if this woman, what if this young woman, because that's what she is, goes and try to find her parents? She may come from an abusive family. She may be punished. She may be pressured. It is a horrible idea. This young woman, this 17-year-old, is a woman. A year later, she'll have the right to join the military.
But legally, Leo, she is still a minor at 17, correct?
Fred, she's a minor by law, but she has the constitutional rights of privacy like any 25 or 35-year-old. That's why it would be unconstitutional if this law passed. If it does pass, I'm pretty sure someone would challenge it to the U.S. Supreme Court.
We had a parental consent law in California in 1987. I believe the Supreme Court overturned it, the California Supreme Court, 10 years later, based on invasion of privacy. You're right. But this is notification. It's not consent. And that's why the activists went this route, because they figured that would stand up in a court of law.
It's a hurdle for a woman to get an abortion, and that's what it is.
All right. Final topic. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts to give the light of knowledge and the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. 2 Corinthians 4:6 of the New Testament. It's also a coded reference you can find on rifles the U.S. military uses. There are other coded references as well on the sights of rifles used by the U.S. military. The company that makes the sight says there's nothing wrong with that. Military rules specifically prohibit promoting of any religion. Some are upset, others don't find anything wrong with it. Leo? What do you think?
Terrible. Fred, those guns are in Afghanistan, in the Middle East. It would give the impression that we're fighting some type of religious war in the Middle East. It's a horrible idea. Also, what if a person doesn't subscribe to that religion, the Christian faith? What if they're another person of a different faith? They would find those rifles offensive. Religion has no business in the military.
Let me just say this, though. But if you're out on the ground fighting a war, you're holding a rifle, you're defending your life, I think the last thing you're going to find offensive is a code on a gun. At that point in time, I think you're more worried about survival. Agree or disagree?
I agree with that 100%, but what I'm saying is this was a report that is worldwide. This can be used as a propaganda tool by those in the Middle East who are fighting us and saying this is a religious war. They're trying to impart the Christian faith on us.
That's absolutely true, and it could lead to torturing our troops if they get captured. And there are soldiers who have complained about this already. So I think we don't want to present them with reasons to not motivate them to fight. We don't want to alienate the soldiers. If I were the Army, what I would do is I'd go back to the gun manufacturer and ask them to remove these biblical verses at their own expense. If they refuse, then I would cancel the contract and even go to court if necessary on First Amendment grounds. And then I would go to all the soldiers and I would say, would you like a weapon with a biblical verse or not? And I would provide them with their choice of whatever they wanted.
Well, you can't do that.
You can't. No, Charlotte,
you can't do that. You can't give people the option. You want the biblical verse or not. It's got to be all or nothing.
Why can't you?
Because that's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to try and correct that. I mean, we got a stack of rifles here and a stack of rifles here. Which one do you want?
Charlotte, Fred is right on this one. He's right. He's 100%. You can't do it. It shouldn't be on the guns, on the rifles at all. It's called separation of church and state.
It's one way or the other. Agree?
Correct. Agree.
No, I don't agree. I think you can use up the weapons you have, and then you're going to be making new weapons anyway because you're canceling the contract, so you can give troops that option.
All right. All right. we're going to agree to disagree on that one, Charlotte, okay? All right. Leo, Charlotte, good job. We'll talk to you next week.
If you're so smart, prove it. Contact NBC Filter on Twitter or Facebook, or send an email to thefilter@nbcuni.com. We care what you think, but if we don't like it, we'll filter you.